I forgot to click record. So hello everyone out there. We just clicked record, so hopefully I haven't cocked it up since like last time where we only had half the session done. So yeah, please put any messages in the chat, and we'll get around to it. We'll see what we can do with that. Yeah, and we'll have regular breaks for that. If you guys need any advice, just drop us a message on the emergency clinic phone number, whatever it is. It's on the emails, and we'll arrange a one-on-one call with you as well. To start with, while we're just waiting for a few people to kick in, let's try and put, if everyone could put something positive in the chat from last week. So one positive thing that's happened in the last week that can really try and get our heads out of everything that's on COVID. Come on, Brett, I can see your eyes thinking about one. I'm sure you can think of something that's gone well this week. Cheryl, one thing that's gone positive this week. Wonderful, Chrissy. Amazing. So, did the patio, nice. It's a good one. Bit of sunshine, love it, Cheryl. The sun is shining beautifully. It's not that good for us, Ginger. Getting there. Loads of people having suntans. That's what we like. Cool. So, I'm very conscious of time, so we are going to crack on because I do want to leave it so if anyone wants to at the end, because last time the timer ended and we were all doing cat camel poses and it all cut off on us. So we're going to work down the spine. We're going to work through different regions just to try and get movement. When we're looking at the spine itself, the basic fundamentals are that this isn't one big steel rod. This is 24 moving points. If you had any of the chiropractors on, they'd argue there's 33 with the movement in the sacral base. But movement is key to the health of this. Movement is key to the health of the nervous system as well. So one, it provides good signaling to the brain and back, from the body to the brain, through differences in pressure on these tissues. If we have a build-up of pressure onto these nerves, they start sending the wrong signals and we start getting wrong feedback mechanisms in how the body works and how the brain works. So we need to be able to try and move each section. And the other thing is as well, if we don't move different areas of the spine, then we don't get the right nutrition change in the disc. So it creates dehydration and lack of nutrition in general, changes in differences in the problems of how tissues can regenerate. So we want to try and give you at least one or two regions of stretches and mobilizations for each section of the spine to keep you going. There is nothing, I just had a phone call with Tom quickly before this, saying, can you think of any cool things that I've missed out when I've run through it from last time? And to be honest, there's not really anything sexy about these things. It is good stretches just to keep stuff going. So there's no magic goose for it. So when we're looking at the cervical spine, we're looking at this neck, the biggest thing to remember is it's supposed to have this curve here. So this curve is supposed to be in balance, and that produces holes, or nicely spaced holes, for all these nerves to come out. Some say it is the arc of life, because at the end of the day, that lower segment from C3 all the way down is nerves that control everything from heartbeat to respiratory function to how your vagus nerve works. So your vagus is basically in control of a lot of functions within the body, all into the abdomen. And if there's pressure on the vagus nerve, it can create acceleration. So especially in a stress state, it can cause very stress-based changes like increased heart rate and all that sort of stuff. When we're looking at this region and we've got that nice curve, especially everyone at home who's working at desks and working at, I've seen someone the other day who was working on a sideboard trying to produce a standing desk from a laptop. If our head is in this forward position for a long periods of time, that's going to have a big impact. So it's important to remember to keep doing breaks and rest. And actually, the idea is to try and get this head, if it is in a forward flex position, to come backwards and provide that arc there. Very, very simply, all we need to do to move it is generally place a hand onto the chest, if everyone wants to do that now. You don't have to apply a lot of pressure. All this is going to do is just anchor down some of the muscles, and then all I need you to do is just go into rotations from one side, holding and pushing, and then to the opposite side. The three main ways that we move the neck are in either rotation, both sides, in flexion or lateral flexion, and in extension, extension and flexion. You guys should be laughing at me now because I've just got those anatomical words mixed up, which is a great start. Now, the more you can provide movement in there, the better it's going to be. It doesn't mean you have to stretch, you have to apply a lot of pressure. The key thing is to work up to build that muscle, to build that movement back. But Brooke, you're going to go through now some really good stretch from the main culprits that keep us locked in position on you. So crack on, go for it.
Yeah, so hello. So I'm going to go through 4 main stretches. They're really, really simple. Obviously, you can do it at any point in the day. What I say is try and fit it into your routine. So if you go and grab a cup of tea or whatever, just every time you do it, think, I'm just going to do a little stretch, especially for these areas. So the 4 main ones, we're going to look at our upper trapezius muscle, which is around here. So it's like in the top of the neck here, and then we've got a levator scapula, so that allows us to like shrug our shoulders, our rhomboids, which allow us to squeeze our shoulders together, and then we've got one at the front here, our sternocleidomastoid. So a long I always fall on that one, the word. But anyway, yeah. So we're going to start with the upper trapezius. So really, really simple. So like Tom said, our neck does lateral flexion. So we want to go ear to shoulder, and then with the other arm. So whichever way we're going, we'll want that arm to come over. And then all you're going to do is just to add a little bit of kind of pressure. You can, if you want, if you're on a chair, you can hold on to the chair just for a bit of support as well. And it's kind of like an anchoring point to keep that shoulder from rising up, and then obviously you can do it the opposite way again. Good stretch. I'd say around 10 to 20 seconds, just however long is comfortable for you. The second one is for our levator scapula. Oh, go on.
John, just before you move on to that one, okay? So when Brooke's saying a good stretch is about this time, listen to your body with it, okay?
Yeah.
It needs to feel uncomfortable, but it shouldn't be pushing you. It shouldn't be painful. Okay, so don't be worried about it actually getting tight. It's supposed to do that. That means that we're actually getting into it. And if it's becoming painful, or if you start to get headache, you need to stop and pull back a bit, have a rest. Okay. When you're bringing your hands to the top of the head here, and we're pulling across, you're more likely to feel it in the upper section of the trap. Okay. So this is going to be more building tension from here upwards across. If you're wanting to get the lower section, that's where Brooke is saying to hold on to the chair. Personally, I find that limits my stretch a little bit because I'm having to contract and restrain. What I would do is I'd take the other hand and I'd literally place that onto the collarbones. If everyone feels a stretch without putting the hand there first, you'll feel it up here, midsection somewhere. If you place your hand on your shoulder, you don't have to push down hard. That just restricts the fascia, which is covering the muscle. And as you go across, you're going to feel that deep burn a little bit more. Everyone feel that a bit more? Good, perfect. On that muscle as well, Brooke, there's 3 fibers in there. There's not just the middle one. Do you want to just go through a little bit? Because some people are probably going to have tension in the front ones. So if you go anterior, posterior, mid, that would be a useful thing.
Okay, so you mean like, do you mean the front one?
So there's 3 fibers in the trap here, okay?
Okay,
the middle fiber does that, the anterior fiber will do that, and the posterior fiber does that. So when you're going for the stretch, you just need to do the head variant to try and get the stretch in the right place. Do you go for it?
Yep, so like Tom said, you can use your other arm. So if you just bring your head that slightly bit forward, that's going to do the front end. Yeah, and so then more middle, and then you can move it backwards as well, and that's going to get kind of the back fibers as well.
Yeah. So you can either position the head or you can rotate the head. So if I turn my head to the opposite side and go down, that's going to hit the back trap. If I'm going to keep my head facing, so I'm forward, that's going to do my middle. If I turn my head towards the shoulder where my hand is and go backwards, I'm going to feel that in the front. So you've got front, middle, back. Okay? It's the same thing when you're stretching out the quads. A lot of people do the quads in one way, and just bend the knee. But there's different muscles in there, so you have to bring the knee straight, inwards and outwards to get all the different fibers to stretch movement. Go on, Brooke, John, carry on.
Yeah, So the next one is for our levator scapula. So like I said, it kind of helps us shrug the shoulders, reaching up, anything like that is going to be used. So for this one, really simple. It's like you're sniffing your armpit. It sounds horrendous, but that's what it's like. So what you want to do is you're going to do nose to kind of towards the armpit, and then whichever way you're going, you're going to pop that arm again just on top, just to add that slight bit of pressure. Now where you should be feeling this is more kind of here rather than like this side, like Tom said, so more towards the back area. And again, you should just feel, by adding that bit of pressure, just that bit of stretch, which is really, really nice.
So Brett, I'm just watching you do it, mate. Instead of your head being forward, just turn your head round a little bit so that nose is really getting into that armpit. I don't know if you haven't had a wash for a few days, but it'll be worth it once you get in there. Okay, you'll feel that more on the back.
Yeah. Cool. The next one is for our rhomboid, so that's more kind of the back area, so it's in between our shoulder blade and our spine. So again, like Tom said, when we're in this position, it's going to get really, really kind of lengthened and fatigued as well, so we need to get it nice and stretched out. So really simple. You've probably all done this one before. Simply arm across your body, and then with your other arm, exactly, you can kind of place it where you need to. Sometimes it's probably better off further up, because when it's here, you're more just doing this area. When you're further up the arm, you should be able to feel it kind of across and stretching this area. That's also going to do your shoulder as well, which is really nice. And then obviously you can do the other side as well. And then the final one is for the front of his neck here. So like Tom was saying, again, when his head starts coming forward like this, these muscles are going to get shortened, so we need to try and stretch them out. So this muscle, sometimes you can see it if you have a look. So it comes all the way from our sternum and clavicle here, and then all the way up to our mastoid process, which is just behind our ear. So it allows us to bend our neck forward, so flexion, and then as well, it allows us to rotate as well. So it's getting used quite a lot. So really simple. If you get 2 fingers, and then you're just going to place it kind of on the clavicle here, around the sternum. You don't have to press down or anything, just literally, it's just going to allow that muscle to be in place. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do ear to shoulder the opposite way, and then you're going to look upwards, and you should be able to feel that stretch all the way at the front there, which is really nice. Perfect. Good.
No, we're flying through these a little bit. It's just because we've got a fair bit to do. I know there's other people needing some other things on this call. So there's 2 things that are happening at the minute which can cause the muscles at the back of the head to really tighten up more. And that is one of the biggest culprits if anyone's suffering with headaches at the minute, or dizziness or vertigo. We've had a lot of emergency calls for people who are getting dizziness actually at the minute. I think it's just because we'll be forced to work on laptops a lot more. Working on laptops, working on screens in a head forward position tends to put a lot closer proximity, puts a lot more light into the eyes. When that does happen, it creates a reflex at the back of the neck and these muscles contract. So one way that we need to have breaks at the minute to try and take the pressure off that region is by literally keeping the eyes open, but blocking all light in there, so the eyes can recalibrate. And as they recalibrate, that takes the pressure off the back of the muscles at the back of the skull. So everyone can do this now, even if you haven't got a headache. What I want you to do is, I want you to take both hands. I literally want you to cover up the eye sockets, your eyes still open, but blocking all light out. Okay? That is as easy as a stretch goes. You literally keep your eyes open, try and focus for about 20 seconds to 30 seconds. Once you're doing that, everything starts to go. Once you take your hands away, you're probably going to feel a little bit dizzy. So if you just wait another 5-10 seconds, if you're doing it, then come out. I can see Cheryl blinking a little bit now. She's just done that. Perfect. And that's just going to take a lot of pressure off of the head. So massive thing to do. The other thing is, we can try and provide a curve back into the lower section of the neck. Now, yet again, this is all linked with heart and breathing function. So at the minute where everything's going on, kind of important to have that going. Okay? All you need to do is take a towel, roll it up into a nice sausage. Okay? Don't use a foam roller for this. I know some people have a foam roller, but it's a little bit too hard. All we're going to do is we're going to lay down and we're going to try and place it at the lower section of that neck. So I don't have it too far up where I'm lay down, my head starting to chin up. We're having it lower down and I'm leaning backwards. So it should look like that. Okay? I can feel it pulling here at the bottom. All you need to do there is lay, relax, probably about 10 minutes or so. The pressure that you need to feel is if you take a finger or 2 fingers, you basically run it down to where your traps, these muscles, meet the neck, and then just lean the head backwards. You're looking for that sensation. You're not looking at it being too far up and having resistance. It's supposed to be nice and floppy and providing that curve here. You can do that as many times a day as you want. Ideally, beginning of the day, end of the day. And yet again, just by having it relaxed, it's going to help recalibrate that arch because we provide that curve there. There's less pressure on the nerves, and these traps can just start to relax off a little bit. So it's a really good one to start with that. Tom, is there anything else you can think of? Anything that's come up on the chat? Or
nothing on chat. There's nothing more I'd add to. Like I say, I like to keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Love it. Cool. Everyone happy with that? Give us a wave if you're happy. You're all good. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to move on to the thoracic spine now, where the majority of people hold tension, especially when they're stressed to start rolling forward. First thing we're going to do is we're going to do a thoracic spine mobilization. So everyone needs to get a bit of space. The first position we're going to do is we're going to go into a lunge. If you look in here, I've got my foot, so it's not at 90, it's a little bit further forward. Okay? Now, all we're going to do is we're going to lean forward, we're going to touch our toes, so touch your big toe with one hand, and then we're going to rock and rotate and point up to the ceiling. Okay, you're going to squeeze at the top, and we're going to come back down, and we're going to keep going through that movement. Okay. Do it for 10 or 12 repetitions, then relax, shake it off, and swap hands. Okay? So we've still got this leg forward, we're leaning forward again, this time using the opposite hand to support myself. And in that forward lean position, I'm then going to go and rotate to the opposite side. Now, the idea of doing both hands with both legs is, when I do the same leg and my same hand, and I go around, that tends to hit further up into my mid-back. So this is further up here. When I'm doing the leg and the opposite hand, it tends to be a little bit lower. So you can work round if you've got a primary spot, if there's an area which is the biggest tension you feel, and you can basically find out which one's better for you. Personally, I do both legs, both hands anyway as a routine, and I just go through it and mobilize that way. The next one we're going to do is we're going to use our shoulder blade and our arm to try and stretch the muscles that connect the shoulder blade to the back. Now, we can't manually contract these are all done by reflexes, so using our limbs to override those circuits is a good tool. The way we're going to do it, I want you to kneel on the floor, both knees and both hands form a box. Okay? Now, we take one hand, you go up and you contract first, and then all you're going to do is you're going to rotate down, and as you come down, if you watch my hand position, I'll do it from the front, that hand comes down underneath, the back of my hand and the back of my forehand skim across the carpet, and I dip my shoulder. So it should look like this. Up and down. Everyone see that? I'll do it again. Up and down. When I'm going down, I'm really trying to reach, I'm trying to stretch. I'm having to dip from my hip here to get that line. But what you should feel is, as the arm goes under, so as this arm goes underneath there,
I'm feeling it stretch between the shoulder blade and the centre of the spine.
Is everyone all right with that? Can everyone feel it okay? Everyone going, Christ, it's funny watching Brett's camera because I can see this hand keep popping up every now and again. It's like a meerkat. So that's a good upper mid-back, and shoulder blade mobilisation. You still on that? No. If you can't get down, if you can't kneel down, there's another good way of stretching that mid-back and trying to provide some relief. And there's one of the exercises called a Brugger relief position. So this is something that you can do as many times as you want. It works on the basis that I'm going to try and get all my muscles to contract. If I get them to contract for a period, and then suddenly stretch them, they relax. Okay? So I'm working against my body. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get to a chair. I'm going to move some of my bums a little bit further forward. And have my knees bent, feet and ankles at 90. Okay? Then what we're going to do, we're going to take the hands, we're going to roll them backwards. And what I want you to do is imagine you stuck on the front of the ship. So one of those wooden carvings on the front of the ship. You're going to basically bring your arms backwards, squeeze your shoulders together. You're going to stretch the hands backwards, the fingers backwards, and the head backwards. And taking a deep breath in, you're going to try and stretch all those parts together and move your chest so it goes up, and basically you're trying to point your nipples to the ceiling. So after 3, 1, 2, 3, and squeeze. Really extend, hold that contraction. I want you to do it holding the breath as well. So we're really increasing the pressure in the body and the chest. You hold it for the count of 8, and then relax. So using that circuit to contract, hold, and then give. Okay? I find that for people who have mid-back tension, this is something that 2 or 3 times, if you do it in quick succession, gives you a relief. Obviously, if there is a problem underneath, if there's a subluxation that needs to be shifted, then it's going to keep recurring and coming back. It's going to help you move forward with everything until someone can get to it. That's great for stretching this section here. But what we can do is you can use it to move the shoulders as well. So we can change it from Brugger 1, which is this, to Brugger 2, which is exactly the same, but chin to chest. So what we're going to do now is take a deep breath in, hands go back, shoulders go back, fingers go back. Holding that breath, head goes forward. Now naturally, I bring my head forward, my arms are going to be a bit lower. I'm squeezing there, squeeze. And you're going to feel that stretch all the way up here, as well as into the shoulders. Everyone can feel that? All good? Cool.
Just one question on chat.
Go for it.
Is this going to be available afterwards for reminders on the exercises?
This one is, because we're recording it. Unlike last time when I worked out halfway through that we're not. I'm very conscious that we're probably going to run out of time and we're halfway through. So what I'm going to do is, if it's okay, has everyone got a piece of pen and paper at hand? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a number. Basically, there's been a cock-up because we set this before we upgraded to the next package on Zoom. So this was set up the last and a bit weeks. So it's got a code for this call, but it hasn't got our new code call. So if I give you another code, when it runs out of time, we can launch another meeting almost immediately, and we can go straight onto that. So has everyone got a pen ready? And I'll just give you the code. The code for the meeting straight after this will be 691 740 4610. So that's 691 740 4610. 691 740 4610. It's like I say, I feel like we're rushing. I don't want to. So we'll launch that call straight after. So that's going to help provide some of the tension into the shoulders. The one that we want to do after that, or one that you can do additionally, is a standing stretch as well. So yet again, sometimes it's really hard to try and get that specific spot that you need to get relief to. This one, I'll stand backwards. All you need to do is stand. It's very similar to rolling the shoulder over. You're going to stand feet shoulders apart. We're going to take one hand, this has got to be nice and floppy, and we're just going to bring, so my shoulders are facing, my body, my torso is facing forward in line with the feet, basically. All we're going to do then is roll this shoulder forward. So this shoulder is just coming around. This arm's all relaxed, and what we're going to do is we're going to hold the wrist, and I'm just going to flex a little bit from my waist. Just going to flex a little bit from my waist. And then we're going to hold on to that wrist and we're going to pull it down and across. So the shoulder position is going down and across. And I'm feeling the stretch here. So this is all relaxed. This hand's doing all the work. It's causing traction. Now, you will probably find a position or an area around this lower trap region which is going to feel a bit tender. That's where you're probably holding the tension there. You may not, and the reason being is it may be at a different position. So how you can change where the stretch goes is by basically flexing more forward and pulling the arm across, or standing up straighter and pulling the hand down. So somewhere between there and there, you might find a tender spot. So especially, this is really good for finding that one region that you might get. So you may have to work it. Like I say, we're not twisting from the abdomen. If you do this, it'll take tension out. Instead, we're just tractioning the arm down. Everyone good for that one? If anyone golfs, if anyone does weightlifting, that's a very, very good one for both those sports. I know they don't seem very comparable in the grand scheme of things, but it is pretty good. Another good mobilization. So that's working more on the muscles around the supporting muscles for the shoulder and for the main trunk of the back. Sometimes when we are in a forward flex position for long periods of time, that can cause restriction and tension actually into the ribs and where the rib heads are and where the ribs connect to the spine itself. A good way to try and get those ribs moving a little more is by doing rib rocking. So yet again, you can do this on a foam roller. I find it too hard. But yet again, if you get a towel, roll it into a nice tight sausage and place that on the floor. So we're going to place it on the floor so it's going away from us. All we're going to do is we're going to lay on our backs near, and I'm aiming to try and get that sausage not in the center of the spine, but slightly off to one side of the rib. So between, if you imagine a line from the edge of the spine, edge of the ribs to the center of the spine, we're aiming to get probably about a third to halfway across. All we're going to do is we're going to lay backwards. We're going to arch back. You can have your legs flat, I prefer it with my knees up. Hands on the shoulders as if you were in a sarcophagus. And we're just going to rock from side to side. Nice and gently, nice and slowly. It may feel a little bit tender, it may feel a bit uncomfortable. But if the ribs are restricted, we're just trying to get a little bit of spring in there. And then move to the opposite side. I've got a knot there, which is great. Tom, do you want to talk through some foam rolling for this region?
Yep. Let me just get the angle right. Bear with me.
Every good conversation on camera always starts with, wait, let me get the angle right, isn't it?
So nice, easy, mid-back, foam rolling.
Everyone see Tom, by the way?
Are we good? So laying as such, you're going to drop back till about there on your lower back. So you're looking about just the top of your lower back area. And then what you want to do is you can do this either supporting yourself with your arms, or if you want arms up like that. And then you just want to roll up, and you're doing that by bending your legs, and then you just roll into about the top of your shoulder blades. Like so, and that's just going to target all those muscles in between your shoulder blades, and then just down the mid-back area.
Cool.
That tends to be the number one for mid-back in terms of foam rolling. Like Tom was saying, you can do the rib roll that Tom's just done on there, but it is a lot more painful.
Notice how his eyes flicked up then when he said it.
One thing you can do is if you come into this position, you can just move your arms forwards and up and like a fly, and that'll just start to contract some of those muscles in the back just against the roller, which tends to give a little bit of extra movement. So you can do that both sides. And then you just go down a little bit further and again. But yeah, 2 good ones for mid-back.
Cool. Well, what I'm going to do now, just check the chat questions. Tom, is there anything on there? Yeah, I don't think there's questions on there. We're going to go through next. We're going to go through foam rolling for lower limb and for lower back. I've got a couple of good mobilizations for the pelvis and for the lower lumbar spine as well. And then we'll go into some Q&As, but we're going to have to do that on the next call. So if everyone's got that code again or hasn't got the code is 691 740 4610. 691 740 4610. So I will see you there right now.